Excellent!
I totally thought that you were in the bathroom.
Going live. You thought I was where? In the bathroom? No. I finished more quickly than you did. I've been out here waiting, assuring people you would return. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Awesome Hardware. This is part 2 of episode number 9. Indeed. I'm here with Kyle, and this is our show that we do live every week on Tuesday evenings at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time on twitch.tv/awesomehardware.
Word.
If you're here live with us, thank you so much for joining. We have a fantastic second half of the show. If you're watching in the future, or the re-upload on YouTube, you can watch the first half of the show over on Kyle's channel, which is youtube.com/awesomesaucenetwork. No, Awesome Sauce News.
Step backwards.
Kyle's channel is awesome.
Step backwards.
Jeez, we always have such a... Just screw it. Only watch this half of the show. Kyle's half sucks anyway.
What?
All right.
What? I had an awesome half of the show.
What? That's true. All right, so we have been told, apparently, that I'm supposed to go into our Gamebox chat and see Steve did something there, but I don't know what it is.
Oh, you haven't been in Gamebox since Steve did his thing.
What did he do?
He changed, because, you know, like, we're all mods.
Yeah.
He kind of gave us all, like, subtitles. So, like, I'm Kyle, Lord of the Grundles.
Ah, I see.
And I forget what you are.
We all have names.
But then, like, newcomers who aren't mods, they also have, like, a generic label now. So, like, anyone who comes in is Kyle's Grundle.
Oh, okay.
But then he's got a couple people that come in that are labeled as Paul's biggest fan, or Paul Hardware's biggest fan, or something like that.
Sweet.
He's messing around with the names. He's getting bored.
You might also notice that my half of the show is brighter. That's because we have a light right here that was just off during the entire first half of the show.
Yep. I like to roll in the dark.
Because we didn't turn it on. So hopefully...
I think it still looked pretty good, though.
Still looked alright? Alright, so hopefully the brightness is helping.
Post it.
But yeah, I have a second half of the show planned, and you know what I did?
What did you do?
I didn't take that time where I was waiting for you to actually prepare for my half of the show.
What were you doing this whole time I was chatting with your wife?
I was telling people in chat that you're chatting with my wife and that I'm sure you would be in here very soon.
So you completely overlooked your own duties.
Completely overlooked.
You just worried about me.
Duties. You said duties, by the way.
Duties.
That's kind of funny. All right.
Shame on you.
All right. So we do have actually here. I wanted to start off the show with a quick announcement. Now, if you're watching live or if you watched the first half of Kyle's show, you maybe already saw this. But if you're only watching my half of the show, because Kyle's half sucks.
No, it's actually way better than this one.
But I wanted to say a quick thank you or another thank you to any of you guys who subscribed to my channel. Because this was my show and tell item for Kyle's half of the show this year.
It's a fake.
It's not fake. This is my 100,000 subscriber silver play badge icon that was just arrived a day or two ago.
Bought it on Craigslist.
Bought it on Craigslist. There's an excellent guy who will make really
his name's Craig.
knockoffs. Kyle, here, talk about that for another second.
All right, so here we have a very beautiful play button, which represents 100,000 subscribers on a particular YouTube channel. It is dedicated to Paul's Hardware in honor of his name and channel. It says, "Congratulations for surpassing 100,000 subscribers." It comes in a very nice black frame with a brushed aluminum finish.
There's a letter in there too.
There is a letter in here?
Special letter.
Do you have to
smash
it open to get the letter?
It might be all the way. No.
Do I have to smash it?
No, it's at the bottom. It's at the bottom of that thing. You don't have to read the letter though. I think we're caught up. All right, that's good.
That's very nice.
Thank you, all of you guys who've subscribed.
Mine's gonna be better.
Kyle's.
Mine's gonna be like titanium.
Yours is gonna be the same. It's just gonna say.
No, they'll make it special for me.
Just gonna say Awesome Sauce News on it.
Mine will have sauce on it.
Yeah, that's true. All right, put that back. Okay.
My own sauce.
Now, if you watched the show before, then you probably already know that the first half of the show ends with news, and the second half of the show begins with more news. This week, I decided to go in early, so this morning I went in, and I kind of jacked all the kind of more interesting news stories, so that's what we're going to be starting out with here. It's the interesting news stories that Kyle didn't talk about in the tech world. Since our show is called Awesome Hardware, we do like to talk about hardware, at least occasionally, although not all the time. Kyle, for instance, brought up the new Full House reboot on his side of the show.
Very important news.
Which we wanted to share with all you guys. But let's start off with, how about some NVIDIA GeForce GTX 980 Ti rumors?
Heyo.
Yes?
Sure.
Yes, shall we? Okay.
What do we know, or what do we think we know?
Well, all right, so first off, this is a WCCF Tech article. And if you guys are familiar with WCCF Tech, you'll know that they're a very interesting site to read. They dabble a lot in rumors and speculations. a lot of those do often prove to be true, so it's not like they don't have good sources or anything like that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is all this should be taken with a big fat grain of salt. But all right, so last week, we didn't talk about it because we didn't do a show, but last week there were some rumors that popped out about the GeForce GTX 980 Ti. Now, we've already had the 980, but 980 is based on the smaller chip from Maxwell. Then we saw Titan X release, or at least announce and then release over the past month or two. So there's been speculation about what NVIDIA is going to do kind of in between. And if you look at past releases, well, typically there's a Titan, and then there's other variants of the big version of the chip that they make for the Titan class cards. So with Kepler, for example, there was the Titan based on Kepler architecture, but then they also had the 780 and the 780 Ti that were both based on that same GK210 GPU, but that were cut down in various ways in order to make it more passable. So just to quickly run over some of these alleged specifications from WCCF Tech, they have a chart here. So Titan X is on the far left, 980 Ti is right next to it. So you'll notice a lot of similarities, both Maxwell, both GM200, same die size, same process, same CUDA cores, same texture units, same raster ROP units. Clock speed. Here's where the 980 Ti would potentially be faster if this is true. We have 1100 megahertz or thereabouts clock speed base and a 1200 megahertz or thereabouts clock speed boost. VRAM. This is where the Titan X says, I'm still a Titan X and you can't get this without paying $1,000. And this kind of makes sense to me. 12 gigabytes. Yeah. You only get that with the Titan X, not a 980 Ti. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if NVIDIA keeps this as the dividing line between their $1,000 top tier card and your slightly more reasonable, say $500 to $700 range of other GM200 derivative based cards. Because I'm hoping,
based on the VRAM.
Yeah, because I'm hoping we don't just get a 980 Ti. I'm hoping maybe there's some other GM200 based GPUs. It was nice with the GK210, for example, to have not just the Titan, but the 780, 780 Ti, and then you also had like Titan Black and some other variants that went out in there as well.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's pretty much all the same. Memory clock's the same, memory bandwidth's the same, TDP's the same, power connectors are the same, and the theoretical expected price tag is about $700. Again, all of this unverified, unsubstantiated rumors, but all sounds pretty legit to me. Now, a lot of this actually came from an AnandTech forum thread over this past week. I actually pulled that up too if you guys are at all interested in looking at it. It's from Cloudfire777 on the forums, who is posting some quotes from a member with great reputation from Baidu, saying a GTX 980 Ti will launch somewhere between May 16th and 26th. And this would again be very, very unsurprising.
Yeah.
So if you guys have been following, I don't know, any of the other like Tech Talk or the WAN show or anything like that, there's been a lot of discussion over the past couple of weeks because AMD has released some numbers, and it's just AMD's not doing so great right now when it comes to their revenue, when it comes to executives that they've had to part ways with or who have left the company or otherwise. They're having some struggles right now. So it makes perfect sense in my eyes that if NVIDIA already has a 980 Ti, which they already do, you can take it from me, they've launched the Titan X, they've already got the 980 Ti, it's all set, it's ready to go. They can launch it whenever the heck they want to.
Why would they be waiting though, Paul?
They're waiting because AMD is also known to be sitting on their 390 and 390X, which there's also been lots of speculation, but which has been pushed back. So we can safely assume at this point that AMD is in a position of really trying to push their graphics card out, whereas NVIDIA is in a position of, we've got it, and we're just kind of waiting to see what the competition comes up with.
NVIDIA seems to be one step ahead for sure.
Yes.
In this regard.
And again, if you guys have been watching any of the live shows, if you watched the WAN show, Linus and Luke spent a while going over the chart that was posted, and I didn't pull it up for this one, but a chart that was posted on their forums in the tech news section about the disparity going all the way back to like the mid to early 2000s between AMD and NVIDIA, or ATI and NVIDIA. ATI until AMD bought them. And that NVIDIA has been on top when it comes to discrete graphics cards for quite some time. If you look at the whole picture, if you're looking at like APUs on the AMD side and like whole systems running and what they're running, well then Intel is way out on top as far as like what graphics solutions people use. But when it comes to discrete graphics cards, which is a safe bet to say that's what the PC gamers out there are using, NVIDIA has been on top for quite some time. So it's safe to say
they're holding their cards.
That that NVIDIA is ready with this, and this all seems to mesh pretty accurately with me. NVIDIA scheduling a pre-Computex launch event, which is also mentioned in this, some pre-Computex launch event, May 16th to 26th, which is a couple weeks before Computex.
That's also speculation?
This is also speculation.
Okay.
The possibility or the rumors that we've heard about AMD saying AMD most likely is going to wait until Computex to launch the 390 and 390X and whatever other chips they might have available at that time. This all makes absolute sense to me.
Yeah.
And NVIDIA, because they probably know that, because both companies monitor each other very closely, legitimately, and sometimes I can't say illegitimately. I have no idea,
right,
honestly, but they watch each other very closely, and NVIDIA always wants to be on top. And if AMD is about to come out and say, "Here's our 390X. This is what we've been working on. This is awesome," and NVIDIA can be like, "Oh, still not faster than the card we launched last week, huh?" Like that's where they want to be.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I mean, competition helps everyone, and blah blah. And we've all been through the discussion that we all want AMD to still be there. We all want AMD to still be manufacturing good products. But yeah, when it comes to NVIDIA and what they have coming out, I'm excited about a 980 Ti. I'm excited about the prospects of a GM200 chip on the Maxwell architecture. Something that you don't have to pay $1,000 for to get that kind of performance.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
I'm going to crank up the grass filter on GTA 5.
Yes, you can turn your grass.
980 Ti.
Yeah, all of your grass effects all the way up.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, again, this is just another chapter in the ongoing saga of the battle between AMD and NVIDIA when it comes to the desktop graphics card market.
Yep. I'm super curious about the 390X too, though, because I'm pretty sure it'll be cheaper than the 980 Ti, even though...
It always just depends on the performance.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Wherever the performance falls in...
And power draw. Well,
that's where they'll price it. Because, I mean, and they're pretty good about that. I mean, it's only certain times and like short periods of times when a card is really overpriced or something like that. And you're like, why would I pay that much for that? That's why the R9 295X2 is $700 right now.
Yeah. Is
because it makes it a very compelling option when you're looking at a Titan X,
right,
or something like that, because you can get a lot of performance out of a 295X2.
Yep.
And we're like, wow, that's $700, liquid cooled, like 2 GPUs on the same card. Sure, it's over a year old, but still a compelling option. So yeah, that's kind of how that all falls in. So we're all going to be watching that very closely. I'm going to be going to Computex. Actually, we could throw that out there right now. I'm going to be going to Computex. So next month, I will be missing some awesome hardware.
Boo!
And we're still working out.
How could you, Paul?
We're going to arrange that. You mean how?
How could you do that to me?
And who most recently?
How could you ever do that? I would never do such a thing.
All right. I will say
we'll find a workaround for it.
It's got to be at least at minimum. It's got to be reverse herpes that I'm dealing with to miss that sort of thing.
It will. It's already on its way.
Okay, let's move on to tech news story number 2. The other good one. Are you a Steam user? You might be about to be banned. No, that's just a sensationalistic headline. All right, so Steam users are going to be barred from the community section of Steam until you spend $5. Yes.
Why?
Why, Kyle?
Oh, this was the story that I was going to use until I realized you'd taken it first, and I had to talk about Full House.
Now, here's the idea behind this, and I actually think it makes perfect sense, and I think it's a good idea, just to be right up front with you guys.
Okay.
There's certain things you can do. You can sign up on Steam, create an account, and then there's certain things you have had access to up until this came out. including sending friend invites, opening group chats, voting on Steam Greenlight, Steam reviews and workshop items, participating in the Steam market, posting frequently to Steam discussions, gaining Steam profile levels, which is now locked at level 0 until you spend $5, as well as trading cards, submitting content on the Steam Workshop, posting in an items Steam Workshop discussions, accessing the Steam Web API, and using browser and mobile chat.
Wow.
These are all things that you, prior to now, you could just sign up for Steam, anyone, anywhere, with zero money down, within, you have to have an email address, could sign up for Steam and do all of these things. Now, what Steam is doing is they're just putting a $5 limit on that. So basically, rather than this being a free enterprise, you have to pay a little bit of money first.
But it's a one-time thing, right?
It's not a one-time thing. It is it's an account setting. So any of us who are regular Steam users have probably spent at least $5 on Steam.
On anything, right?
Yeah, on whatever. Lifetime.
Yeah.
Since you've had your account.
Well, that's a one-time fee. It's a one-time $5 fee.
As
long as you've spent $5 at any point.
It's not even a fee. You can't sign up for Steam and then say, let me pay the $5 fee so I can now post in the forums and everything like that.
Well, it's an unspoken fee in the form of buying product.
It's a limit. So what it's there for is to keep trolls and spammers out.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, yeah. I mean, I agree with that, because if you're going to get a Steam account, chances are you're going to buy a Steam game that costs more than $5.
Yes.
So there's no...
But people who don't want to spend $5 and just want to spam and try to get people to click links or whatever have been using that freedom, that free access in order to abuse their ability.
This is a smart way to weed them out.
So,
this is a smart way to weed them out.
So, I haven't heard too much about all of this on the wider web, so I don't think there's any miscommunication going on about this. But if you hear anything that says, like, oh, Steam's charging you $5 now or something like that, that's not the case directly. All they're doing is they're setting a very small pay gate so that people can't create completely $0 down accounts to use for spamming.
But... I don't know, though. I don't even know what the point of that is, though, because $5 is so minimal.
It's minimal,
that if you really
but it's way more than zero. That's what it is. And if you're looking at ne'er-do-wells who are trying to use either people who are paid very small amounts of money who live in developing nations, to spam, or who are looking at setting up bots, or who are looking at setting up fake accounts to spam stuff, you're looking for as little investment as possible. And a $5 investment now for each account that you can only use until that account has been flagged for spam and then banned or whatever, that's a barrier.
I suppose.
And that barrier, granted, it's not going to block all of the spam or potential negative comments or blah blah, or people trying to post stupid links to viruses or whatever. It's not going to kill all of that, but it's a hoop to jump through, and that's going to keep out. You'd be surprised at how simple some of the article, if you guys are interested, this is a Hexus.net article, and it goes into that, like, they did some analysis before they made this decision, and they looked at it and they're like, hey, if we just did this, we would block 80% of spammers who come through here.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's pretty good.
So
I didn't really think about bots. That is something that, I was thinking one individual with one account who's just going around spamming everyone from one account.
You're looking at automation. You're looking at people who are just trying to set up automated things to go and take their illegitimate link or their link to a virus or their stupid link to some affiliate account that they have set up and just stick it everywhere possible because eventually somebody will click on it. That's the most annoying type of spam. Right. The most broad-based, not refined type that there is. Yeah. And anytime you have something that's not blocked by at least a sign-up wall, and even more so a paywall, then that's going to keep that type of thing out. So good job, Steam. And I would add this to the list of reasons why Steam is a service that many of us really enjoy and approve of.
Cheers, Steam.
Hey, cheers to Steam. Cheers to Steam and Gaben. Gaben.
That's Lord Gaben.
Praise Gaben.
Come on.
Praise Gaben.
Praise Gaben.
Gaben be praised.
To Gaben.
Your response is Gaben be praised.
Gaben be praised.
Yes.
I almost spilled beer on my laptop again.
Okay.
Brilliant.
moving
Excellent.
right along.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, if you guys are interested,
no.
there is a Steam, an article on this under Steam support where you guys can kind of, there's a little bit of Q&A going on. What's involved in all that thing. Actually, I did have one kind of question that popped into my mind.
Okay.
There's these golden Steam accounts. They have a name. I don't know if it's gold. It's something like that. But it's like this gold pass you can get or something like that. It's like Steve wants this. If there's anyone who wants this more than anything, it's Steve.
Steve spends $5 in his sleep on Steam.
And there's a couple different variants of it. You can get one that's a pass that if it's applied to your account, you get all the Steam games, all the Valve games. And then there's another one that gives you every game on Steam.
What?
Yes.
How do you get this?
You got to be hooked up with Valve somehow.
That sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, I forget. And there's a name for it, too. I want to say it's like a gold account, but I'm pretty sure that's...
Time to buy some more hard drives.
I'm pretty sure that's incorrect. But yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, golden Steam? The golden stream?
Golden stream!
and
I know a thing or two about that.
And thus Gaben did pour his golden steam upon all of the people, and they bathed in it.
And it was good.
And it was good. Yes, indeed. Yeah, there are special accounts. There's a special thing you can do, and it gives you every single game on Steam. But this is the only thing that popped into my head when I read this article, where I was like, how could this go wrong somehow? Because I can imagine if you're some fancy person who has the right connections, and you got that set up like from day one, somebody's like, you've never used Steam? Let me set you up, like, a friend of Gaben's or whatever, something like that, or some high-level executive. Let me set you up. Here's your account. And they spent $0.
Right.
I'm kind of curious if this would flag them.
If Steam would flag them?
The article we were just talking about, the $5 paywall.
Oh, right.
Like, I have this special account that I only got because I was a friend with an executive, but my account balance as far as money spent is still $0.
No, they have to be exempt from that.
That was the only thought that I had, where I was like that.
If so, it's like, you better suck it up and pay the $5 because you just got every single game on Steam for free.
And it's such a unique situation anyway that, like, there'd be like maybe two people that would be affected by it. All right, here's another article from Hexus, and I thought this one was interesting because it is definitely very hardware-based.
Yes.
MediaTek. Are you familiar with MediaTek?
No.
No? Okay.
Not really.
MediaTek designs, manufactures, I think they design and manufacture.
Okay.
I know they have, I'm pretty sure they have fabs.
SoCs?
I could be wrong about this. Yeah, they do SoCs. So when it comes to like your mobile SoC, kind of the mobile SoC space.
Okay.
You have certain players that are involved there, like you got your NVIDIA
Qualcomm.
with your Tegras, you got your Qualcomm, you got ARM. MediaTek makes, from my understanding, ARM-based chips, but they have a reputation for making more budget-friendly chips. The chips they make are not necessarily like crazy powerful or anything like that, but they are very inexpensive. And you'll see a lot of the like lower end or just cheaper price wise out of the gate. Mobile devices will use MediaTek chips.
Okay.
All right, so MediaTek is talking about their deca-core MT6797 Helio X20 SoC.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah, that sounds pretty impressive, right? It's
10-core. Wow.
I just like that it's a deca-core. Because that's a term I haven't used before. Deca-core.
We'll see deca-core soon enough.
Yeah, so deca-core is 10-core, in case you're not familiar with that. What else can we say about this? All right, so it's an MT6797 SoC, which is a system on a chip. If you guys aren't familiar with what an SoC is, you take like all the parts in a computer and you put them onto a single chip, and so it's like your CPU and your GPU and all that, like everything's all right there. Yep. And that's what is in most of our cell phones, it's an SoC, a system on a chip. So here's the interesting thing about this, though, about this 10-core, deca-core CPU that they're talking about, is it's got a new kind of formula, a CPU architecture. They're calling it tri-cluster, right?
Okay.
So if you followed ARM at all, they have a thing that they do called big little.
Okay.
Right? So the idea that ARM has gone forward with, and they've done to great success, is they have a smaller, low power part of the chip that does processing, And then they have a larger, higher power, higher performance part of the chip that also does processing. Depending on what your cell phone is doing at the time, for example, it can use that little section, that low power section, to kind of get by, kind of idle or whatever, do basic stuff. And then if you're doing something like playing a game or loading up like a more complex web page or app or something like that, then it can switch to the big part of the chip. So they call it big little.
Okay.
And they capitalize one and the other.
Sure.
You know.
It's just their
counteractively, the big is in lowercase and the little is in uppercase because it's clever. But anyway, what they've done here at MediaTek is they've taken, instead of two things, a big and a little, you got a small, medium, large. So they've gone with 3 phases. They call it tiny, medium, huge, I guess, is what they're showing here in this little article. And it's interesting because it says that this concept was actually drawn a parallel from the automotive industry. So looking at something like gears, you start in a lower gear to like kind of get yourself moving, and then once you're moving, you use a higher gear, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Ultimately, though, just to not dwell on this too long, it's built on a 20 nanometer processor. The small, medium, large instead of big, little has allowed them to achieve a score of 70,000 in the Antutu mobile benchmark.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
If you don't typically run the Antutu mobile benchmark, yes, that is quite good.
Okay.
There's no word in the article as far as like devices that might be using this chip soon or anything like that. But I wanted to talk about it because it seems like sort of an evolution when it comes to SoCs, when it comes to the processors that we use in smaller devices like a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was just interesting to take. Oh, okay, you've added an intermediary step, so you've got a medium in there, not just a small and a big. And
I wonder how this performs compared to like high-end, high-end SoCs that we see in smartphones today, like a Qualcomm Snapdragon quad core or something like that.
And I'm also kind of interested, like. Because, like I said, MediaTek prior to now, I mean, they've had more of a reputation for making like, solid but basic SoCs that are less expensive.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting if this is like their push towards actually being more of a challenge at the higher end when it comes to like a premium smartphone or something like that Qualcomm or NVIDIA might be behind, for example. Because they have not necessarily been known for that in the past. All right. I have one more quick news story that I just wanted to talk to you about. And because I wanted to bring up Grand Theft Auto a little bit. Are you talking to Strider and Chad about?
Sorry, me and Strider are having a moment. Leave me alone. Gosh.
That's cool. You and Strider can talk.
Jeez.
All right, so there was some news earlier this week. I wanted to talk about GTA a little bit in my segment. There was some news earlier this week that GTA's social club, the RockStar social club, had been hacked.
Yeah.
It hasn't.
Right. But you should change
your
password.
It has not been hacked. But as you can see from this PC Gamer article, you should still change your password.
I'm going to change my password right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Cal's going to change his password right now on stream.
Because I know you guys are out to get me.
I'm wondering if people can see your part of your keyboard. No, they shouldn't be able to tell. It's very clever. So I guess just long story short here, somewhere else was hacked, and wherever elsewhere place was hacked, got a bunch of sign-in information, and they were using that sign-in information to access RockStar social club accounts from people who had used the same login information from other places. So that's why you might have heard that the RockStar social club was hacked. However, it was not. But since somewhere else was hacked, you should still change your password just to be on the safe side, which Cal just did.
Changed it.
Password is now 23456 rather than 12345. Okay, moving right along. We have a new segment. No, not a new segment. We have my next segment.
Next to new. Very different things.
You know what I never did? I never did a news there. All right, I'm going to do lower thirds to end the news segment.
Okay.
And then we're going to move on to our next segment. Sword fight.
Sword fight.
It's time for sword fight. I'm doing it for
sword
segment
with
2
you,
today.
Paul.
Hold on.
It's my favorite pastime.
Okay. Do you guys like Kyle's his artwork for Sword Fight?
I do.
Very appropriate.
I like it.
Okay, so I'm gonna start out Sword Fight on kind of a more mellow tone for today.
Okay.
I want to start out with an apology.
Oh?
Yes. To any of you guys who were actually watching my live stream on my YouTube channel on Sunday evening, which I believe was the 19th, I was streaming there. My did I say YouTube? I meant Twitch. My Twitch channel that I stream my video games on from time to time is Paul's Hardware, twitch.tv/Paul's Hardware. I was streaming on there, and basically I got mad, and I cut off the stream, and I ended it rather abruptly. I kind of rage quit on folks. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to say I'm sorry to any of you guys who were actually watching that stream, because I did end it pretty abruptly, and it really wasn't any of your fault why I did it. So my apologies. And,
I feel like you're talking to your kids after getting a divorce or something.
Look,
it's not your fault, kids.
Look,
it's
when
Mommy and I
don't get super mad very often, but when I do, I try to look back on it and be like, well, why was I upset? And I try to make it a learning experience if I can.
Okay. All right.
Damn it.
No, that's good. That's good.
I'm tired of you asking these questions. My side of the show is over. We're ending.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
What are you talking about?
So the reason I bring this up for Sword Fight is because it kind of like gave me a thought for something to ask you guys for Sword Fight. Now, Sword Fight is where Kyle and I take a topic and we debate both sides of it either way, and you guys get to vote in chat whether or not you're into it. So the reason I cut off my stream was because I was frustrated. I was frustrated due to the actions of somebody else. The only reason I was in game. The only reason I was frustrated at the actions of somebody else in game is because I was playing an online multiplayer game. Now, many of us have been playing online multiplayer in GTA 5, but I wanted to use this to kind of segue into just a little bit of. Hold on, let me post this straw poll in chat. Just a little bit of discussion about this because I'm kind of curious, actually. The question I'm asking in the straw poll, and that Kyle and I are going to debate, is do you prefer online multiplayer gaming or single-player solo gaming? Or basically not online story mode as it would be in GTA 5.
Depends on the game.
And you guys have options of online multiplayer, solo single-player, or I think there's a time and a place for both because I like to put in a little mediocre in-between option as well. Okay. Now, Kyle, obviously, as we were going through this entire struggle earlier this week, and I was playing online, and I got frustrated. Kyle was doing his thing, which was playing single player. He wasn't sharing it with anyone by streaming or even playing online multiplayer. He was just by himself playing video games in the single player mode. So I think it would be best if Kyle takes the side of the single player here.
Okay.
And I will try my best, despite my negative experience, to argue on the part of the multiplayer. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to start it off? And give you more time to
start it off.
Right. So argue on the side of multiplayer gameplay. Now, since obviously I'm coming from a standpoint here where I had a frustrating experience, I will say first off that I was a little bitch about it, and that I should not have done that. I need to be able to handle and deal with the interactions with other people. And if someone wants to, be a jerk, then I need to be like, well, sometimes people are jerks, and that's just one thing that happens. But
it is GTA.
The reason online multiplayer gameplay is more fun is because there's simply a wall you hit when it comes to
single player.
Yeah. There's a wall that I'm going to show the question real quick too, so you guys can see the question. There's a wall you hit when it comes to single player.
Yep.
All you're dealing with is computer-generated AI, artificial intelligence, and ultimately AI becomes predictable. There's a way you can tell what it's going to do next, how it's going to act, how it's going to behave in response to the actions that you take in-game, and that ultimately is going to lead to boredom. You're going to get tired of the game, and you're either going to set it aside, or you're just going to move on to... So you're going to go... Maybe you'll go outside. Maybe you'll start getting some exercise. Maybe that'll be good for you. But ultimately, you won't be playing video games anymore, and that would be bad. Online multiplayer allows you to interact with other people. Other people are random. Other people are chaotic. They might think up anything they want to do at a particular moment in time, like sniping you in the head over and over, even though it's kind of a stupid thing to do. And that's something that you have to deal with. And ultimately, that's something that it brings diversity into the game. It brings complexity into the game, and it makes the game more like real life. Because in real life, not everything is fair.
True.
And but in real life, also, you're met with a vast array of decisions and possibilities every day, and that simply isn't the case if you're playing in a more closed, non-online, non-multiplayer environment.
All right, and here's where I tell you why you're wrong.
Yes, I'm wrong and stupid.
And why you're stupid, and why single player is clearly the superior option when it comes to gaming. For many of the same reasons why you argued against it, ironically. So for one, playing single player, you never have to deal with any asshole coming up behind you and pop, 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 capping you in the ass and pissing you off. What are you doing with the beer? It's distracting.
I was showing people what beer I was drinking.
Jesus.
I forgot to do that earlier.
What's going on?
He shot me in the face the first time.
Shot you in the face. See, you don't have to deal with that, right? You get AI to work with. AI are reasonable. They are fair. They are predictable. No surprises.
It's true.
And you get that.
It's calm.
You get that calm, peacefulness, especially with guys like me and you, right? Where we don't really have much time in the day to game. Like, we're so busy doing stuff. A lot of people are very busy doing things.
Yeah.
That when you jump into a game, you just want to have a really seamless, fluid, a positive experience.
Yes.
And a lot of the negative experiences that I've found when I'm gaming, especially on PC or on any platform really, has been the multiplayer. I've never really rage quit. I've only rage quit maybe a small handful of times when I'm doing single player. Mm-hmm. But I've rage quit a lot more when I'm playing online because of other people. Because of other people that either piss me off, they're not playing fairly. Like you said, it's not fair. And then that goes, I guess it kind of goes with your argument, well, multiplayer is more like real life, and that's why it's good. But I don't play video games to make it feel like I'm in real life. I play video games as an escape, as a vacation, for a few hours at a time to be pulled away from the daily grind or the daily burdens that I experience in my life. I want to be on a freaking cloud somewhere. I want everything to be magical and people shitting rainbows and stuff. I don't want some dude coming up, ruining my experience for the night, and now all of a sudden I'm in a bad mood because of some asshole. Like, people are like the worst. People are like the worst things ever. They are seriously, they suck. So why would I favor that, playing with a bunch of assholes, over just being in my game, being totally immersed, and really playing the game the way it was intended, the devs intended it to be played. Mm-hmm. You get the single player campaign mode. And games these days are so much more cinematic than they ever have been. Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember playing a few years back Max Payne 3, and I felt like it was in a movie. Like, they're hiring writers in the film industry nowadays to write scripts for video games, and you lose that sense of art when you just jump into an online server and you're just dicking around with a bunch of people. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot lost when you're not playing online, or I'm sorry, when you're not playing the single player. That's it's good stuff to take part in.
And I think your argument has swayed me, and that I agree. Not going to play multiplayer online ever.
But would you want to play it with me tonight, though?
Oh, actually, yeah. Later tonight we can do the after party. We'll play.
Okay, cool. I was afraid that you wouldn't want to play.
Yeah, like and like. So yeah, when we do the sword fight, we're supposed to take either side, but obviously we any subject that we've discussed in this little segment of the show, we almost always come back and be like, yeah, that's my argument from that side, but in reality, it's a much more complex picture. It's much more, there's a lot more gray area.
Yep.
I'll say for me, like, I don't have as much time to play video games as I used to. I used to squander hours, many, probably far too many hours playing video games. And now, thankfully, I'm a bit more responsible about it. I do try to play, if there's fun games, especially a game like GTA 5. But I've had kind of a long-standing rule, I'd say, for the past good 5, 6, 7 years now, since I've like worked full time while being a gamer, and that is that if I come to a point in a video game and I'm not having a good time, especially if I'm getting frustrated or like angry or upset, I turn it off. Yeah. I either turn it off or I switch to something else. I don't allow myself to do that because that is my leisure time.
Yeah.
That is my time to have fun, and it is 100% under my control.
Yeah.
So I need to tell myself, like, I don't have to stay in this.
You have to subject yourself to that. Yeah.
But anyway, this is why I wanted to bring this up. But in this event, it wasn't 100% my decision because I also affected what could have potentially been the enjoyment of, I think there were 40 or 50 people who were watching at the same time. So that's why I wanted to bring this up, and that's why I wanted to kind of ping you guys and everything. But let's talk about results really quick.
What do we got?
For this question at least. And I'm...
Ha ha ha.
Wow. So I'm not surprised that there's a lot of people who say there's a time and a place for both.
Yep.
And I will say...
there really is.
Last night, for example, I spent a long time working on some projects during the day. Came to the end of the night, I was like, I want to play some GTA. I could jump online, and even not streaming, I could just jump online and whatever. But I was like, I haven't played the single-player campaign much. I'm just going to do single-player. I played it for, 20, 30, 40, maybe an hour.
Yeah, there has to be a time and a place for both, because some games are only single-player.
I will say
and they work beautifully that way.
The secondary votes here are a little surprising. I'm a little surprised there's more votes for single player than online. But I will say,
me too. Yeah, you're right. I was expecting more multiplayer.
As an escape, as a way to like go and relax and spend time just having fun or whatever, that makes sense. And if you really want to completely remove the possibility of getting griefed at all, that single player is the way to go. But yeah, guys, thanks for your votes. I got one more straw poll coming up here in just a moment. As you guys might be aware, we usually have 2 discussions.
Is this a serious one?
A little bit.
All right.
Maybe a little bit.
That means
less serious. All right, so I'm gonna post. I'm posting the straw poll in chat for the second question. I'm gonna talk about YouTube video ads.
Okay.
Because we've talked about this a little bit recently when it comes to video ads on YouTube. Now, if you watch YouTube, which I'm guessing most of you do,
if you're watching this show
at some point or another,
yep,
you'll notice there's ads. Now, there's a couple different types of ads, though. There's the YouTube ads that are put there by YouTube, which are either the lower thirds ads that pop up underneath, or the full screen ads that play at the beginning. They're called pre-rolls, before the video even plays. But beyond that, because YouTubers like us who only do YouTube have to make enough money to like pay our rent and buy food and everything, and the money you actually get directly from YouTube ads is minimal.
Yep.
Often we will work directly with advertisers to add another ad into the video. But
adding ads.
Like myself being someone who I don't really like ads. I've never been a huge fan of marketing. I've always thought marketing was stupid, and the best thing any ad could possibly do is make you get a chuckle. And those are the only ads that I actually like. If it's funny, then at least it was worth watching.
Right.
But when it comes to YouTube channels, and I'll talk specifically about tech YouTube since that's kind of our little niche, is you'll look at some of the channels and you'll find channels posting one video with like not just one ad, but maybe even like two ads in it.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who would possibly have the audacity to put 2 ads in one video.
I've never done that.
I mean, that would be just an atrocity.
Yep.
That'd be terrible for somebody.
I've never done that.
But the question, and if you guys have already clicked on the link, the question you might be looking at is how many ads is too many in a typical YouTube tech video? And this is a question that comes to my mind quite frequently because I'm trying to make a living as a YouTube person making YouTube videos, and I needs to know, like, obviously I got to do some, because as we've already mentioned, the money coming straight from YouTube is really just a trickle. But I don't want, I want to make it something that people either A, find to be minimal enough that is not intrusive or not annoying, or B, is at least done in such a way that even if it is an ad, maybe it doesn't feel like an ad.
Right.
Maybe
Sure.
it's, maybe there's some humor involved in there. Maybe it's actually useful. Maybe you learn something during an ad.
Right.
That could happen too. So the question I'm asking here is how many ads is too many in a typical YouTube tech video? And we got one, we got a couple, we got ads everywhere, we got no ads at all.
I go with the last option. YouTubers shouldn't put in their own ads.
No
and they
ads?
shouldn't require food or shelter either.
I thought you were going to take the 2 or more stance, Kyle.
No. Are you kidding me?
Why would you?
Why would I do that?
Why would-
It's not like I ever do that. Dick.
warned,
Honestly, all right. So I guess I'm forced into taking that one since
I warned you about the single player versus multiplayer. I didn't warn you about this one.
No. I'm totally fine to back this up.
All right.
All right. So this is why I think.
And that dragon's outside again.
Yeah. What the hell is that? Is it a train?
It's a dragon.
Dragon train.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's how to train your dragon.
I think 2 ads. Well, I don't know. You can't really put a number on it.
Okay.
I think that's for sure. You can't put a number on it. There's so many different factors that go into what makes ads acceptable or not.
There's also lots of different length videos.
There's different lengths. There's delivery. There's placement of the ad.
And a 1 minute ad in a 4 minute video is a lot different than a 1 minute ad in a 20 minute video.
Exactly. So it's not just quantity.
Mm-hmm.
It's the quality of the ad too. If it's a blatant hard sell, those are much harder to grind through. You know what I mean? Like I hate hard sell ads. Yeah. Even if they're like 5-10 seconds, like I just I get all pissed.
The worst ads for me when I'm watching TV. So like when I watch TV, by and large right now, I'm watching DVR. It's usually pre-recorded. Mm-hmm. The ads I know are the worst are the ones that make me realize ads are playing. I need to fast forward.
Yep.
Because it's really easy to just be watching a show, whatever. Maybe you're not paying that close attention. Then it goes into a commercial, and then maybe you don't realize, like, oh, I can fast forward or whatever, right? That's happened probably to all of us.
Yep.
The ads that pop, usually for me, it's like a car ad. Whenever it's like, oh, a car driving down a road, it looks all smooth and sexy. I'm like, oh, it's a car ad, I should fast forward. So yeah, those are the ones where I'm like, that's bad because there was zero interest for me. I immediately saw it was an ad and didn't want to watch it any further.
Yeah.
And went on. So I guess as a sword fight topic, this is a bit difficult to argue directly one way or another. So just for the sake of argument, if you could argue on the side of ads in videos, and I'll argue on the side of no ads in videos, which honestly I think is harder for me to do than you.
Yeah.
So you go first.
Well, here's how I'll lay it down.
All right.
I'm arguing for ads in videos, right? So if you don't have ads in videos and you do what we do, which is YouTube full time, all day, every day, you don't really get the same quality of YouTube video. Okay. Because then we have to resort to other ways to make money. Like the cut that Google gives us for those automated pre-roll ads that just pop up on our videos is utter shit. I'm not even exaggerating. It's like literally nothing. Like I could get a job at McDonald's and be making more than I do on Google Ads each month on YouTube. Yeah. Easy. So the only way for us to sustain our full-time YouTube gig that we have going on is to either do is to do in-video ads like we have been, or if we're trying to just please the audience and we're scared of in-video ads because we're worried that it's going to deter our audience, then hell, I have to get a part-time job somewhere, or I have to sell my body on the street to Josh because he's the only one that'll actually have me. But
doesn't pay much either.
It doesn't pay much either, and it's still more than Google Ads.
Josh is very stingy when it comes to on the street.
He is, but he works very silently.
You give him your all,
just like his cases.
He just.
But anyway, what I'm saying is, if we don't have that, if we don't have the in-video ads, then our time is being stripped of us to dedicate to other methods of revenue. Yeah. And that means less content and worse quality content. I don't have 18 hours anymore to spend on a single video. Let's look at Dimitri from Hardware Canucks. If he only had like 4 hours to make a video, how much worse would they look than they do now? But he that didn't sound the best.
You phrased that so bad.
I phrased that so poorly. I mean, he has the absolute best looking tech videos on YouTube. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're number one, if you're Marquez or whatever. He has the number one best. He has the #1 best-looking videos on YouTube as far as tech goes.
Dimitри's videos are already terrible. How much worse?
That is not at all what I said. You are twisting my words, sir. You need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. I do too, probably. Dimitri, I love you.
Yes.
You have some of the greatest frickin' looking videos on the web.
Stop it. Make them worse.
Yes, so you're making us all look terrible. On a scale of 1 to Dimitri, how good does this video look? That is like the new statement of the century. So imagine if he didn't have like the stable income that he has coming now. Like he does in-video ads and stuff, and like how much time would he have to deviate away from making videos look as good as they do if he had to like pick up a part-time job or something just so he could pay his rent and stuff on time? Yeah. That's why. If the content is good, if the person is utilizing the money that they are getting from these in-video ads to make better videos and make better content for the viewers, then the viewers shouldn't have a problem with it if they're watching the videos. That is their payment. I'm giving this video to you for free. I'm spending 18 hours on a single video for you to watch for free. If you can't sit through 10 to 30 seconds of whatever blah, blah, blah ad, then why am I making content for you? That's my argument.
All right, let me explain why you're wrong. According to Google.
Oh, Google! I can't win this argument.
This is the only tack I have to go with this article because it's so counter to what I truly believe. No, you're wrong, Kyle. YouTubers have no right to post ads in their videos. In fact, they should be grateful for any money that they already get from YouTube, which is already probably too much, since YouTubers are, scum who subsist off of the scraps of other much greater content creators, supposedly. But no, like if you look at YouTube, right, they already have ads. Like, why would you need to post your ads when YouTube already has hand-selected, carefully curated ads that they choose to put at the front of your videos that you don't even have to worry about? No extra effort going into coordinating with a third party in order to like establish sponsorship or anything like that, sending invoices and payments and all that kind of thing. YouTube takes care of all that for you. They put the ads there at the front of your videos, and then they give you a percentage of that money that comes in.
I feel like you're not even trying. You sound so fake.
I do?
Arguing this point. Like, it just sounds...
I'm just trying to power through this, okay?
Okay. All right.
Also, I have another point. If you were to, say, make a video that had a YouTube ad that we made... I'm pretending I'm YouTube. That we made to put in front of your video, and then you posted more ads in that video, people would get mad. Because people would be like, I already watched an ad for this video, and now I'm watching another ad for this video.
God forbid people get mad.
YouTube, as the generous benefactor that they are, needs to be able to curate these ads that are placed in order to prevent upsetting your audience and making them feel like they're having too many ads forced upon them.
Okay.
I can't go any further.
That's it? That was the end of it? Okay.
That's all. Okay.
Yes.
It's,
like we said, our arguments that we lay out on this segment do not reflect our own personal opinions.
They do not. But they do result... this is why I really... This is why I've made SWORDFIGHT a regular segment, is because I've tried to, at least occasionally, bring up questions that I'm actually curious about finding your response to.
Yeah.
One is this one, and I'm actually surprised that 50 votes or 60% of people are saying I'm okay with a couple ads or a longer ad if they're funny or entertaining.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
I agree with that. I'm cool with that.
Other than that, we have one short ad is all I can take, and we have a few people who are saying we shouldn't have ads and that we shouldn't require food or shelter either. That's kind of that's my tongue-in-cheek insert. And then, of course, we had one person who went against the grain and was like, we should have ads everywhere. We don't even need any content. Just all the ads. But no, that's interesting. So if they're funny or entertaining, and I kind of agree with that. And that's been my stance with, like, TV commercial ads for a long time as well. Like, the straight hard sell ads, like, hey, here's our whatever. I'm like, okay.
$39.99 on sale. Yeah.
You're advertising. But, like, that's why, like, Budweiser ads or like the beer ads right now piss me off.
Yeah.
Because the Budweiser and the other beer ads used to be freaking hilarious. They were funny.
Yeah.
I don't know who they had doing their ad team, but they were at least some of them were funny ads, and I could be like, sure, you're trying to sell me beer. You made me laugh.
Those were the highlight of every Super Bowl
for
a while,
I
for
appreciate
at least a
that.
good 5-year streak.
Now it seems like all they can do is like, here's this guy we're going to set up and emasculate. And you don't be like, that guy, drink Budweiser.
Yeah.
Like, that's their entire...
Get all the chicks with Bud Light.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And it just doesn't... I hate it. It just frustrates me. I think it's a terrible representation of like men in general and other things as well on top of that. And yeah.
On top of the terrible beer that they're advertising.
On top of it being awful beer as well. But okay. That is all
fight.
for Sword
Good sword
Fight.
fight,
Thanks,
bro.
guys, for participating. Now,
yeah.
I have one more segment I'm going to do, and then we'll go into the last segment of today's show, which is going to be Q&A. I've already pulled one or two questions. What?
You said, I have one last segment, and then we're going to do another segment.
Last segment. I like doing... And then finally after that, we'll have this.
Our
and then
second
finally,
last segment.
after the final segment,
yes.
we'll have the final segment.
Okay, so what do we got here?
Yeah, so we're wait, what?
What's your next segment?
No, what I'm trying to do is tell people that we're going to do a Q&A here shortly, so if you guys want to start getting on them Twitters.
Yes.
Or maybe I'll try to keep an eye on the chats as well. We're going to answer some of your questions at the end of this, and we're free to answer whatever questions you ask us. But right now, we're going to go into my third segment. Tales from Space. No, this is not Tales from Space. This is Tech of the Day After Tomorrow. Was there a crazy echo sound effect there?
Well, we didn't have a... Oh, we do have a...
No, I have talesfromspace.com.
Yeah.
We're so prepared.
That's why we had to...
All right, so we're going to do
emphasize.
tech of the Day After Tomorrow, which is my segment, which mainly deals with tech of the future and technology and all that good stuff. So I have a few stories to tell you guys about here too.
Sweet.
We're gonna start with this one. This is an eternal camera, right?
Eternal.
This one. So this is one of those stories that suffers from the like. Whoever wrote the story wanted to create an article title that sounded really grandiose and everything, but no, it's kind of cool. Eternal camera can take pictures forever, and look at how sharp that resolution is. Right? Okay.
That's worse than 240p.
If you are not impressed yet, how about all this text down here? No?
Text does not impress me.
All right, I will read things.
Whatever your wife is cooking smells delicious.
Don't worry. I have boiled this all down for you guys. All right, so this is a BBC article, and what they're talking about is I don't know whether I want to call it an invention or something that's being worked on by Professor Sri Nayar, who is the director of Computer Vision Laboratory at the Columbia University in New York. This is what is known as an eternal camera, at least so has been dubbed by the news medias. So how do digital cameras work, right? You know that. You got a frame, you got a sensor, right?
Yep.
A sensor on there. That's what's important. I'm trying to think of the words here to use. And sensors, and like for me, I look at a sensor like that's why I bought a 5D Mark II, because I wanted a full frame sensor. I want a big old sensor there because the light coming in hits that sensor and then it translates it and makes it into a picture.
Ones and zeros.
Digital picture.
Yep.
Now, what Professor Sri Nayar realized was that solar panels and digital cameras actually use roughly the same component. It's a photodiode.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And it takes light and it makes it into something else. Whereas a solar panel takes light and makes it into energy.
Mm-hmm.
A photodiode and a digital camera takes light and translates it into a pixel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, or many different pixels. So right. He's kind of fused these two sort of associated technologies together in order to make this eternal camera, which basically the sensor not only receives the image, but it also accepts the incoming light and uses that light to translate it into energy to take the picture.
Okay.
That's pretty cool, huh?
That's pretty cool.
And again, like this is the freaking picture we can see. which is black and white, and it's very blurry. But the reason for that is that the prototype sensor they're using is 30 pixels by 40 pixels.
Oh, wow.
We're used to fairly higher resolution than that.
Just a bit.
So it can only take grainy black and white images right now.
Okay.
But realistically, what this is more of a proof of concept of the fact that this can take just the light coming in with no other power source and use that light to power the function of the camera to take the picture.
Okay. So it's no battery. There's no battery. It's just light. Solar powered camera.
So theoretically, with no other outside influence,
it's a solar powered camera, right?
Yeah, and negating the not just the solar powered camera. It's not like a camera with a solar cell on top. The light coming in through the sensor not only registers to create the image, but also powers the camera to snap that image.
So it's almost using two photodiodes, one for taking the image and one for powering the
almost, but only one.
To do both.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. So
2 birds with one stone. 2 birds with one diode.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I mean, this is just one of those things that's kind of like random, interesting technology, and I was trying to like kind of extrapolate this and be like, well, what could this be used for? And my immediate thought was like, oh, this could be like a crazy time lapse camera.
Yeah.
Right. Like, or for cameras in like extreme environments where they're very difficult to access.
Right.
Something like that. If you could set up a camera like this, then you would never have to worry about, with maybe you set up a camera in a remote location taking footage for like biological research or something like that. And it's got a wireless, a satellite phone or something. So the pictures it takes, it can just beam up wirelessly. And then everything else is solar powered by this photodiode sensor in the camera to keep itself powered.
I just got a crazy thought. Like if you set one of these up, like when they become more advanced and like higher megapixels and whatnot, if you set one up in your home, like, and you just had it running 24/7,
yeah,
and you did like a 5-year time lapse in your house, and like imagine like if you had kids, right? You have a newborn, and then the time lapse is just going for 5 years, and you could see like your child grow. Like it sounds like a homepage Reddit post or something. Like when people post like pictures of themselves like year after year for like 25 years, it'd be like a full time lapse of your fucking kid, your little baby.
Wait, why is Dimitri
growing into something bigger?
Why is Dimitri saying that this is what he actually uses for his videos?
He's just trolling.
He must be trolling.
Of course he is.
Dimitri, I know that you use a camera with more than a 30 by 40 pixel sensor. I'm sorry, but I know that right now. But anyway, yeah, that was actually one of the notes I wrote down. Like ultimate time-lapse camera.
Right.
And that might be, that could be like a theoretical retail product that they could make out of something like this. It's got a Wi-Fi chip in it.
Yep.
That also uses very little power. And it's something you can just, you buy it, you stick it up in a corner, and you forget about it for like 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
And it just beams photos like to your NAS or something like that. And then, 5 years later, you're like, hey, let's look at the first 5 years of my child's life.
Right.
Like in their playroom or something like that.
Yeah.
That could be kind of cool. I was also throwing surveillance out there, obviously surveillance cameras. Anywhere where it's a remote area where it's difficult to go either to run power directly there or where it's difficult to go to like swap out batteries or something like that, I think could be a theoretical use for something like this. But I'd be very curious. I feel like there's a lot more going on with something like this, like a lot more possible uses.
Yes, absolutely.
That I just can't think of right now. So
Right.
I'm curious to see what something else like that might go. But all right, that was our first story on Tech of the Day After Tomorrow. We have another one here.
Sweet.
This one's kind of fun. A new source of hydrogen actually for fuel cell vehicles. Energy is a pretty big issue when it comes to the world at large right now.
Yep.
And when it comes to electric vehicles, the question is always, well, where does the energy come from for electrical vehicles?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it comes from traditional power plants.
Yeah.
When there's different types of traditional power plants, whether you're talking coal, nuclear, or like your wind farms or something like that. This is talking about not just a new source of like. What I like about this article is it's talking about a source of energy. One, from a product that has previously been mostly a waste product, 2, it's easily renewable, and it's not affected by things like how much oil we can pull out of the ground or whatever.
Right.
It's also got a stupid ad that pops up that apparently I can't skip or anything. Oh, there we go.
Speaking of ads.
But all right, let me run down some. All right, so who's the dude behind this? Percival Zhang is a professor of biological systems engineering at Virginia Tech.
Okay.
This is so what he's developed is an enzymatic method for breaking down complex sugars like those found in plant materials into their component parts. Does that make sense to you, Kyle?
No.
It doesn't? Okay.
I wasn't listening.
I bet I can... You weren't listening?
I am now.
You're browsing Facebook, weren't you?
Nope. I'm on Twitter.
You're on Twitter. All right, that's fine then. All right, so I can break this down in a way you'll understand.
Okay.
Beer.
I understand beer.
Okay, how's beer made?
With yeast and water.
Okay, so what you have is cellular-based organisms that break something down in order to... the fermentation process.
Yep.
Yes, it's a very complex way of explaining that. So what Percival Zhang has figured out is a non-cell-based way of doing this.
Okay.
So rather than the typical, like a fermentation process for which uses microorganisms in order to break down something like the yeast or the hops that might be used in beer, it's using something else. I don't know exactly what it is. It's an enzymatic...
I'm hoping they're not using yeast for this.
It's an enzymatic method. That's all I really know. But basically, the upshot is that the process produces 3 times more hydrogen per unit of sugar than conventional fermentation methods.
Okay.
Hydrogen being what they want. They want pure hydrogen. They want to extract the pure hydrogen from whatever source they can get it from in as simple a way as possible with as little waste as possible, so they can get that pure hydrogen and use it to power hydrogen-based vehicles, which can be powered by the hydrogen and have zero emissions afterwards aside from water.
Okay.
Okay. So, other than it being 3 times more hydrogen per unit of sugar, the cool thing about this is that it can be used to efficiently turn corn stover, which sounds like stuffing or something like that.
Corn stover.
Corn stover.
Did you get the corn stove off on the pan?
But corn stover is the most corn. So there's corn everywhere, right? There's U.S. subsidies for corn, so there's ridiculous amounts of corn. We have corn stockpiled for years. That's why there's high fructose corn syrup and everything. Yeah. But corn stover is the most abundant agricultural waste product in the United States, and they can use this process to turn that directly into hydrogen fuel. I think that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Just on a conceptual level.
Turn corn into hydrogen fuel?
Yes. So not the byproducts of corn like the waste products after they've gone and like taken the
utilized
corn
all
out.
the good stuff. Yeah,
like for food and whatnot. Now the downsides so far are that I lost it. It's only been done on a very small scale so far. In fact, it's the small scale is using a 2mm reactor. I didn't know they made them that small.
2 millimeter?
A 2mm reactor.
Shit.
That's interesting. Now, but the other cool thing that was pointed out in the article was that you could eventually have a car that has an onboard reactor that converts the sugars into fuel. Right?
Yes.
So imagine refilling your car with corn waste
syrup.
byproduct, corn syrup. No, like
Okay.
a bunch of corn husks and stuff like that,
Right.
and it's able to like pull the sugar out of that and convert it into hydrogen.
Yep.
And run your car off of it with zero waste.
I mean, it's crazy because you think of physics and stuff and the way chemicals are bound and stuff. It's like everything is pretty much everything else. Like it's all the same thing, just different variations. So if they're able to alter the chemical structure of something to that degree, then they can theoretically turn it into something more useful.
Exactly.
Which, that's basically what they're
and
doing.
what this immediately reminded me of was Mr. Fusion from Back to the Future, right? Remember when Doc pulls up to the house, right, at the end of the...
Silverchains actually said that, Back to the Future 2
Yeah, Back
style.
to the Future 2, exactly.
Yep.
Doc pulls up, he's got the Mr. Fusion in the back, he's like, let me get some, like, eggs and trash and like, biological waste from your trash can, dump it in here, and pow, energy.
It's compost.
Yeah. So energy is a major issue, and that's why I wanted to bring this one up, is because I think this was a pretty cool article on a potential new means of obtaining it. All right, I have one more article on Tech of the Day after tomorrow. Then we'll be going on to some questions, so be sending me your questions. All right, this little article was actually discussed. I don't know if you noticed, but I watched the WAN show this past week. Because there's a couple things I mentioned from it. But they were talking about these Tesla home batteries.
Okay.
Have you heard about these?
No.
Okay. So first off, Elon Musk had been kind of teasing a product, right? He's tweeted about it, but he hasn't said specifically what it is. And he said, hey, Tesla's working on a product, but we're not going to tell you guys. It's not like an automotive product. So what it's been pretty much confirmed right now is that it's a home battery. This is a manufactured picture, maybe, which may or may not be the actual home battery.
Okay.
But consider, for example, what the benefits of this home battery might be, or some of the details. This is an article actually from earlier, or from last week, that talks about some of the kind of scuttlebutt about this whole thing, if I may use a really outdated word.
Scuttlebutt?
Scuttlebutt, yes.
Scuttlebutt.
And what they were saying was that there's already 230 California homes that currently have a Tesla home battery installed.
Wow.
100 homes in other states that have a Tesla home battery installed. The battery itself has to be installed 1.5 feet above ground, should have a 1 foot open on all sides. It does not make any noise, does not need any maintenance, has no drippings. The battery includes an inverter. It's about 3 feet tall and 2.5 feet wide. Looks good. Basically, it's not an eyesore, is what they're saying.
Okay.
And that the installer, when this person who they're talking to here had it installed, offered a 10 kilowatt hour and a 15 kilowatt hour options.
Okay.
And that he opted for the 10 kilowatt hour. The price was about $13,000.
Wow.
But it's available on a payment plan, and you get a 50% rebate from Pacific Gas and Electric, because this is an eco-friendly thing, and there's government subsidies for that sort of thing. But this particular homeowner opted for a payment plan, so he put a down payment of $1,500.
Okay.
Monthly payments of $15 for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
To pay for the battery.
Okay, not bad.
But, this is the cool part. What he does is he charges the battery at night.
Okay.
So, at night, I don't know if you're aware of this, but at night,
It's cheaper.
electricity is cheap.
Yeah.
Because not many people are using it.
Right.
During the day, especially when it's hot, electricity costs a lot more.
AC and stuff, yeah.
So what at least the person in this article is doing is during or at night. At night when it's low hours, he's buying electricity at like a low rate, 11 cents or something like that per kilowatt hour, and he's charging his battery. During the day, he's selling that charge back to the grid.
By using it?
Yes.
Okay.
Not by using it. You just sell it back to the grid.
Oh, you can sell it back.
Yeah.
The electricity stock market?
There's like an app that you can use to control it. Yeah, the battery can be controlled from an iPhone. It has a web app.
Wow.
Yeah, so he charges the battery at night when electricity costs are lowest, and he sells it back during the peak demand times every day. He says he makes $12 to $15 a month doing that, which pretty much covers the costs of the battery.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that's right now when there's not many people doing this.
Right.
If this were a widely installed thing and everyone had batteries in their homes, it would greatly change the landscape for the power market in general. Mm-hmm. Because batteries are something that you don't usually have. Like, they have to generate the power during the day. Like creating power isn't that tough.
Right.
Storing power is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other cool things about the battery is it can be controlled from an iPhone. It has a web application. It's set to charge from a solar system until fully charged and then send energy back to the grid. It's fully off the grid, so you can, for instance, if the grid was down, you could charge the battery directly from a generator. And then this person they're talking to has had no problems with it, blah, blah. Okay, so this is the article actually that they were discussing online as Tech Tips on the WAN show earlier this week. There has been an update to this this is a Bloomberg article. And I'm guessing this is due to some of the leaks and people talking about it, that Tesla has actually come out and said, yes, they're going to be unveiling a home and utility battery on April 30th. So they kind of came out a little bit ahead of what their intended plan was. I'm guessing it's probably because people have have found out something about it.
Is buying and selling power the only thing that people are using this for?
No.
Okay, they're using it for in-home applications, right?
Consider it to be something like a UPS for your entire house.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's a battery that sits outside. It can be charged up and it can be depleted.
Yeah.
The only way you're going to be depleting it is by locally using power in your home.
Okay.
So if you're not using more power than what's stored in the battery, then the battery has extra power. Now, there's different ways the battery can get power. The one way that's explained in the article is somebody buying power during off-peak hours.
Yeah.
And charging it from the grid.
Right.
The other way, and one of the things, and the reason I think this has been widely rolled out in California, is because solar power is another tie-in. So if you have something like this battery and solar panels on your roof, then you could be purely charging the battery from solar.
Right.
And just using that solar to power your entire home, and then any excess selling back to the grid to almost like make a profit.
Right. Okay.
Aside from paying for the battery, of course. But having the battery is the key thing. If you have solar in your home, I don't know this for sure, but if you have solar in your home and you don't have a battery, you can only use the power that's there while the sun is out.
Yeah.
I'm guessing a lot of solar grids have a battery in your home that charges at night. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I haven't investigated this enough.
Right.
But yeah.
So do you know if people can plug their their appliances and stuff into this thing? Okay. It's got a bunch of outlets on it probably, or?
I mean it's probably got like a 220 line or something that goes straight into your home electrical grid.
Okay.
But yes, you can plug straight into it. It's at least got outlets on it that you can just plug in and use like a battery and charge and power devices.
It seems like it'd be a great use for like emergencies and stuff, for
for emergency
natural
use,
disasters and
for emergency use,
power outages.
For having power for your home in the event of a power outage, obviously is very convenient to have in a lot of situations. But yeah, just the ability to be able to store power locally, so that if you're able to generate power on your own via solar panels or otherwise, you can save that power for use later, or the ability to take power from the grid to charge that battery so that you have a backup. There's just a lot of practical applications for it, and I mean, if you guys are interested in these articles, there's a Bloomberg article, there's a gas2.org article. If you just search Tesla home battery, there's a lot of stuff on it right now. And a lot of these articles are saying oh, this is going to change the entire environment for electrical companies or whatever, because the idea of people having the ability to save power in their home or near their home is really different. I just want this. I want it right now.
Yeah.
Because I live in California. I have a house. I want to get solar. I'd love a battery. I'll damn well do a video on it. If anyone from Tesla is watching this right now, you get in touch with me. I'll buy one of your damn batteries. I'm going to set it up because I want to do that. Actually, I'm about ready to look into an entire electrical kind of overhaul of my home, and if I can somehow coordinate solar, I need a AC for the garage, this battery, and maybe a new electrical box, because I think I need a new electrical box, because I think the one I have is from the 60s or something. That'd be really cool to do. Anyway, nice. All right, so endeth my my segment here. Tech of the day after tomorrow.
Sweet.
There it is. We're moving on to the Q&A segment, guys. Thanks to all of you guys who have been sticking with us for the entire show
last
so
segment
far,
of the
by
night,
the way.
I believe, right?
Last segment of the night. So feel free to ask us questions in the Twitch chat. I know I was trying to diligently find questions earlier that I'd be able to answer, and I only found one, but that's okay. OCN Blue Devil asked, Paul, how do you like your AKG 553s?
How do you like them?
Oh, that was a question for me. I like them. So I've been using them. So what I like about them is that they're studio monitor headphones. So they're very flat. They're very even. They're not meant to add anything or enhance anything about the sound that you get. So for my purposes, which is listening back to my often not that great audio, which often has things in the background like dragons. You guys might be able to hear a dragon right now flying by. it's been very helpful for me. I will point out right here, especially since Dimitri is in the chat and says he's wearing them right now, that Dimitri's take on them, and he has a lot more experience with high-end headphones than I do, was that the pads on them were a bit thin. The actual ear cut pads.
So that creates some fatigue or uncomfort over time?
Okay. But that they are compatible, or they fit all the other AKG fit in like ear pads and stuff, so that you could swap those out if that was really an issue for you. Okay. So I've been really enjoying them, and yeah, I guess that's an answer for that question right there.
Sweet.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, my experience with those types of headphones is not very broad, but having something like that that's really made for like flat, like as a reference tone, I think has been very helpful for me. Jamie Hofer asks, do you play GTA 5? Yes.
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 We'll be playing it tonight, actually.
I've been playing a lot of GTA 5, or as much as I can at least. I think I got in a good 20 plus hours this past week, which is a lot more than video games than I typically play. But I stayed up late a couple nights. That was cool. And yes, Kyle and I are planning on doing an after party later this evening after the show is over. Kyle might not make it, though. He's tired. He's yawning.
No, I'm tired of you.
Look, I'm going to call you out whenever you yawn.
Your segment's boring.
My segment's been awesome, Kyle. We're doing Q&A.
You tired? Putting me to sleep. Here's a question.
What's daddingly felon? Is that what the question?
No. McVinyl said, would you get... Oh, wait, here we go. What are your thoughts about smartwatches? Any of you going to get the Apple Watch edition? No. I see a time and a place for smartwatches, but I don't think I am a candidate for one. I don't really see the need.
Yeah.
I have no problem pulling my phone out to check things. It doesn't bother me. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I think it's a bit of a... It's for a niche market. Smart
I
watches.
keep saying that I was super happy the first time I got a pager. This would have been 1999, 2000-ish, I think.
And
I got a pager, and then maybe a year later, I got a cell phone after that for the first time, and I was so happy because it meant I never had to wear a freaking watch again. Because I'd have a watch, and it was just like I'd get sweaty, or like it'd make a tan line, and I was just like, this watch is stupid. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Now I have something else that can tell me what time it is, and I don't have to put something on my wrist.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not just like, is that wearable bit of technology cool? It's like, this has to be good enough to make me go from a habit that I've been in for many, many years now, as in not putting a watch on, to being like, that's worth me putting a watch on again.
Yeah.
And
how busy do you really have to be in your daily life to need something
be like this
on your watch,
or
as opposed to just spending the extra few seconds? How busy does a person have to be?
And I'm not saying, you're right, this is a little bit more convenient. It's a little bit less time.
Sure.
And that sort of thing. And I'm not saying I've had zero interest in them or anything like that. All I'm saying is it's got to do something. It's got to have that appeal for me to be like, look, I'm going to take something I haven't done in a while and that I've been happy about not doing in a while and go back to it for this reason. And I haven't seen anything so far that has really told me, yes,
right,
this is the reason or whatever.
Unless I'm into fitness, which I'm not.
Fitness could be actually, that is something I've considered doing a wearable for fitness.
Yeah. That's the main
not
thing.
yet, apparently.
Yeah.
All right, so Mick Vinyl asks, would you guys consider making an awesome hardware GTA 5 crew? Then we could have a reliable source for people for heists. I would say at this point, like, we didn't jump on that ground zero.
Yeah.
And now there's other crews out there. I'm already a member of at least a couple crew.
Gasm and Derp Squad.
Oh, Derp Squad? There's a Derp Squad one?
For Josh.
I'm not in the Derp Squad.
Really?
I didn't know.
Sucks for you.
No, I'm in Jerry's Gasm one. I'm in Paul's. I'm apropos.
You joined that one too.
One. I know Edsel has a crew that I was kind of wanting to join because I haven't gamed with Edsel before, and that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
And there's other ones too. So yeah, I think at this point, there's more than enough crews out there for us to join.
Yeah.
So creating a new one, I don't know. We might do it eventually. Who knows? But right now, I think there's lots of them out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kingston HyperX Fury or Corsair Vengeance Pro. Edward VN. You pick whichever one looks coolest to you.
Because they will function the same.
Yeah, because they'll do exactly the same thing. If you have any brand loyalty to either Kingston or Corsair, go with that. If you like either company for other reasons, go with that. If you just like the look of one of them or another, or if it's got a black PCB on the circuit board, or if it has a cool looking heat spreader, go with that. Because when it comes to memory, especially if you're talking about the same like capacity and speed, it's, you know, there's not really much of a difference.
Difference is negligible.
Yeah, and the chances of getting like bad memory is pretty small. Like you don't hear about bad memory too often.
Yeah. Tate Griffin.
Oh, Tate.
On GTA 5, my R9 280X on lowest settings only gets 40 to 50 FPS. Any suggestions? It has the new beta drivers. So...
Which one? The 670?
No, the 280X.
280X.
On the lowest settings, you're getting 40 to 50. I mean, I don't know if that's the preset, and beyond the preset setting, if you can also turn down other settings within the advanced graphics option.
Yeah.
Like little details that aren't necessarily included in the presets.
Yeah.
You might be able to turn those down.
So there's the graphics and there's the advanced graphics.
Yes.
Go into advanced graphics and turn all that off. If you have a medium to lower end graphics card, you don't want anything in the advanced graphics settings on. Beyond that, make sure your anti-aliasing is at 0, because it still looks pretty decent even at 0. And then from there, I would start going into your draw distance, your population density, and your population diversity, because those are the 3 things that you can start to drag down that's going to start to greatly improve your actual performance and frame rate. We already mentioned earlier in the show that stuff like the advanced grass detail and that sort of thing, anything that's like advanced graphics detail, anything like just turn off.
Yeah.
But yeah, your draw distance, population density, population diversity, those 3 are huge. And while I do like to have those turned up, I mean that's kind of why you might invest in higher end hardware. Turning those down is going to get you back to the point where it's more playable and get you above 30 frames per second, or ideally above 60 frames per second. Because even with a 270X?
280X.
280X, you should be able to get a nice solid 60 frames per second experience.
Yeah.
With
definitely.
GTA 5 without too much trouble. If you're doing that stuff and you're finding it's still not affecting it, you probably have something else going on.
Yeah.
Probably
maybe
something.
a bottleneck.
Yeah. Well, I would say probably something going on in your software, Windows installation, maybe something else running in the background that's bogging the system down. Because honestly, like everything I've heard, even when you go down towards the low end, as long as you're willing to like go with 0x anti-aliasing, turn off some of those higher end graphics functions, you can still get 60 frames like without too much finagling. So
yeah, 280X is a pretty damn good card.
And yeah, a 280X, I thought 270X at first, but a 280X you got 3 gigs on that thing.
Yep.
I mean that's a 7970 right there.
Yeah.
Which is a beast of a card. So yeah, I would look towards other. Do those things we mentioned, and then look towards other.
It's not your video
things.
card, if that's what you're thinking.
There's something else. Kill everything running
play.
in the background, and just give yourself a more ideal experience.
Andrew asks, is the 5930K much better than the 5820K for video rendering? Which is the smarter buy? I would have to say stick with the 5820K.
Actually, it will be absolutely the exact same for video rendering.
Yes.
Unless for some reason. The only way it would be different for video rendering would be if you're somehow using all 40 lanes of PCI Express capability on the 5930K
to help you render.
So if you had like if you had a Quadro card with like 2 or 3 Teslas in it, that would be the difference there. Other than that, those 2 chips are really almost identical.
It's just PCIe lanes.
It's just how many PCI Express lanes you have.
A little bit of cache, I think. Mm-hmm. That's about it.
Yeah.
Can I play GTA 5 with you guys tonight? Yes, of course.
Of course you can.
Hit us up.
I'm Paul's Hardware on RockStar Social Club, and Kyle, what are you?
I'm Awesome Sauce Kyle, but I misspelled Awesome Sauce.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because I'm dumb. So I can only remember it when I type it out. It's AWESEOM sauce.
Kyle wanted to be super
AWESEOMSAUCE. And that still might be wrong. Awesome sauce, Kyle.
Here's a
but yeah, go ahead and try to add me.
Roku Mario asks, do you prefer an i7 3770K at 4.5 gigahertz or an i7 2600K at 5 gigahertz? I would say the 3770K.
Yeah. Because the architecture is newer, even though
it's newer architecture, yeah.
The clock speed won't matter as much. In terms
you've got PCI Express Gen 3 support, which I don't think you have on the 2600.
You don't.
Yeah.
It's just newer architecture. It's newer. It's better all around, even though the clock speed's a little slower.
And granted, you can't push a 3770K as far as a 2600K, but apart from maybe I don't know, I'd be interested to see an IPC comparison. Instructions per clock, by the way, between a 4.5 gigahertz 3770K and a 5 gigahertz 2600K, because that might be about the same, or the 2600K might even edge it out.
Yeah.
But overall, as far as
features
and all that kind of stuff, you'll be better with the 3770K.
Better chipset too.
Okay, when picking a video card brands, this is from Papa Squat, by the way. When picking a video card brands such as MSI or EVGA, is there a big difference in performance that overclocking can't fix? No. In fact, there should be essentially zero difference in performance if you're looking at, say, an MSI versus, if you had a GTX 960, for example, from MSI, Asus, EVGA, Zotac, and who else makes in Gigabyte? If you had all those cards and you clocked them all to the exact same frequency and they all had the same memory buffer, they should all perform pretty much exactly the same. The GPU at the heart of all of those is the same GPU. The only real difference you're looking at with the different brands is maybe a different style of cooler. So sometimes a cooler can be better designed than another cooler and might keep the chip a little bit cooler than the other one, and then maybe it might GPU boosts a little bit faster, so maybe a little bit more speed that way.
Yeah.
And then other than that, it's really service and support. So if you have that's a really big reason why a lot of people choose EVGA, for example. They have US-based support. They are renowned for not only helping you out if you have issues, but also they have a really good trade-in program and everything like that. So that's why a lot of people kind of swear by EVGA, is because they've gone with that. I've dealt with EVGA support before, and I can vouch for that. Somebody asked me about this recently, and I was like, actually, I've never had to contact MSI or Gigabyte for support before.
Neither have I. Well,
I mean, granted, that's because I've been in the industry, so there have been, if there's one or two times when I've had issues, I might have gone through a marketing contact that I have versus a customer service line or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that is a big, that some people look into when they're considering what cards to shop for.
But another thing is that if you're going to try to get into overclocking, especially if you're sticking with the stock air cooler that comes with the card, and you're like, well, I could just solve everything with overclocking and get the same performance. Mm-hmm. There are certain cards out there that come factory overclocked that have beefed up VRM coolers on them, beefed up VRM specs, and coolers in general. They have thicker heat pipes, they have better heat sinks on them, so they are tailored for better overclocking potential, and they are potentially cherry binned as well to overclock better. Mm-hmm. So for EVGA, another great example, their For the Win edition has an amped up cooler on it than their super clock even. So you can potentially
point out that your 970 is better than my 970.
Yes, I am.
That's cool.
Absolutely. But no, it's something to consider though, because there's always the thing where you're like, well, it's $15 more for this super clocked edition, but I could just overclock the non-super clocked edition and get the same performance. That might be true in some cases, but where the premium version of the card has a better cooler and is more robust in its cooling capacity, you can theoretically overclock that chip a bit further than you could on the standard cooler option, which is something to consider when you're looking for a card. You're not just getting, because anyone can overclock a card to a certain degree, but at some point you're going to be limited by the cooling capacity of the cooler itself. Some of those higher end cards have better coolers on them, better VRM support and heat sinks and stuff. So
I have one more question from Josh the Tricks.
Just.
And then we should probably cut this off because
Alright.
it's 8:40. We end at 7:30.
Johnson!
How is that? Johnson! That's been a long time.
No!
Alright, Josh the Tricks asks, do you think Fractal trolled your R5 case modding with the release of the Define S? It's essentially the same thing as yours.
But way better for the
Doesn't it kind of negate the purpose of doing a mod? Yes. Yes, absolutely. I think the Define S was designed
I didn't even think about that.
and launched specifically to spite me. I think it was a personal attack by Josh that I will never forgive. No, you're very. Here's the other weird thing: is like Kyle. So Kyle did a video on the Define S. If you guys are interested, check that out. It's on his channel. Posted earlier today, and I saw it, and I think I blanked on this. I think I got the invite for the Define S. And then I think I blanked on it, and I didn't actually...
The invite to review it, right?
The invite to review it.
Yeah.
And I think I must have blanked and not responded or something. I thought I might have, but obviously when people today and yesterday would be like, "Yeah, Define S is out," and I was like, "Oh, wasn't aware of that." I think it slipped through the cracks on my end. I think it's pretty hilarious how similar it is to what I'm trying to do with my Define R5.
Yeah.
However, I'm not in the least bit disappointed, because my Define R5 will still be unique to me. I'm doing a case mod that's unique to me. I've been going on a voyage of discovery. I've been learning things. I've had trial and error going along here, and it's been the most fun. I mean, I know it's taken a while, but it's been the most fun I've had with a build in quite some time. When you compare it to like builds I've done where it's like, here's all the parts, okay, I put it all together, everything fits, okay, yeah, it's a build. That's cool. I've enjoyed the challenge, and I've enjoyed the kind of uniqueness of this particular thing. And the Define S does not have a smoked tempered glass side panel window. Does not. At all.
The Define S doesn't have a smoked glass?
Smoked tempered glass side panel window? No, it does not.
No, it does not.
It has some...
Which means it's way more durable
It's got some shitty tempered
crappy
glass bullshit.
than your fragile ass window.
It's got some awful tempered glass.
Shit's gonna
and
crack.
It's got some awful plexi that's going to get all scratched up.
No, man.
on
It's
a moment's
ABS,
notice.
bro.
It's ABS.
ABS.
Plexi.
Shit's sturdy.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, thank
Ladies
you
and
guys.
gentlemen, boys and girls,
I think
yes.
this has been a running time of, what, 3 hours?
Yeah, we've gone a little bit over on this
Holy
one, so
schnazberries.
who knows how long this has actually gone. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this evening's Awesome Hardware live show. We've had a glorious time. I've had a wonderful time. It's great to be back.
It's been a good evening.
We'll be back again next week at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time on twitch.tv/awesomehardware.
Yep.
If you're watching us live, thank you so much for hanging out and sticking with us. If you're watching us in the future, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is youtube.com/PulseHardware, or Kyle's channel, which is Awesome Sauce News.
Well, just search for Awesome Sauce Network. That's the easiest way to do it.
Yes.
Just search.
Awesome
you'll
Sauce
find
Network.
it.
You'll find Kyle's channel.
Unless you're completely incompetent, you'll find it.
And guys, if you are going to be hanging out later tonight, probably in a good hour and a half-ish.
I gotta eat dinner.
Hour and a half to 2 hours. So we'll say...
I'll get an hour and a half. I don't know.
We'll say between 10:30 and 11 local time.
Late night streaming.
We're going to do a little bit of late night streaming. We'll play some GTA 5. I'll try to be on as well. No, I'm going to be on as well. And we'll have lots of fun there. So stay tuned for that. Kyle's Twitch channel is twitch.tv/awesomesaucenetwork.
Yep.
My Twitch channel is twitch.tv/PaulsHardware. Thanks so much, everyone, again, for tuning in.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Seriously,
have a
this was
wonderful
fun.
evening. All right.
See you next week.
Peace.